Okay, the social handles to join are Twitter, that's X, Nigeria Info FM. Instagram, we are Nigeria Info FM Lagos. Please include the hashtag Nigeria Info ML when you tweet Nigeria Info. Like our page on Facebook as well. We are always up and running on Facebook and of course on YouTube. We are Nigeria Info 99.3. I am Kim Zaynab on Instagram and on X. My Kim Zaynab is spelled KEENZAYNAB. Now, how are you? I hope you are not, your heart is not already in your hand. I know, I can relate. Don't worry. I pray that God continues to provide for every parents and guardians out there this challenging period. School fees have surged dramatically, leaving many parents struggling to keep up. It's even worse for those parents with kids in private school. I can relate. So God no go shame us. Also, it's my prayer to everyone expecting children or those who have just welcomed their children this period. I hope you're holding up well with regards to diapers and baby foods and all of that. Just stay right there. Things will get better. Yeah, so moving on right now. I know you're already curious who the celebrity guest is. No, not Aproko Doctor. Yes, he's not Aproko Doctor. All right. The topic we are discussing today, maybe I should start from that to give you hints, right? We are discussing common childhood illnesses and their treatment. Already, I know you're curious to know the celebrity doctor, aren't you? But it's not Aproko Doctor, as I said. All right. So here is the thing: children, especially between the ages of 1 and 5. Ages of 1 and 6, sometimes children in their developmental years, they tend to be more vulnerable to all manner of illnesses, all manner of common childhood illnesses. And these illnesses, we need to be very cautious about them. We need to be very intentional about their treatment. We need to also keep our eyes on these children so they are not vulnerable, especially this current economic reality. So this is why it's important to have this discussion with my celebrity doctor guest this afternoon. Hi, doctor. Good afternoon, Dr. Renner. Lagos, I have constituency members chairman on the show, and that's noisy Naija pediatrician Dr. Ayodele Renner. Doctor, I can't hear you.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Zaynab. Sorry, don't mind me. I forgot that I was on mute. Yes, so the global constituency leader is here. Hello, Lagos. Hello, the global league. Zaynab, please, be small, they call celebrity, because when people hear that you're a celebrity, they think the next thing is billing. Meanwhile, there's nothing you can't bill me. If you try to bill me, you just not know how money will even go out of your own.
Doctor, why are you so defensive? Don't be defensive. Whether you tell us or you don't tell us, we will still ask for that money you don't want us to ask for. Because you got to be here.
Feel free.
Nice to have you on the show. Nice to have you with us on the show this afternoon.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me on, Zaynab.
All right. So, mothers and parents listening to Maternity Line, I'll be introducing Dr. the more formal way in a bit, but I would love for you to be a part of this discussion today. Please, because what we are talking about is very, very important. Common childhood illnesses and their treatment. Be sure you have observed your child to have suffered or occasionally suffers the illnesses we are looking at today. We are talking about illnesses like upper respiratory tract infections, including common cold, cough, runny nose, and sore throat. We're looking at ear infections.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Come and experience hospitality. Hotel Expo Nigeria is back for the 5th time this August. Enjoy huge discounts on premium hotels and flight tickets. Connect with business leaders and innovators and learn from our conferences as you discover the latest trends. Experience service and product suppliers, technology and more as you buy, taste, learn and network on the show floor. It's Hotel Expo Nigeria holding at Landmark Event Center, Lagos on August 28 and 29, 2024. Doors open from 10 a.m. This expo, networking and conference event is open to all. Register to attend for free at www.hotelexponigeria.com. Brought to you by Airpeace, Budweiser, Stace Connect, Burger King, The Belvedere, Escapade App, Landmark Africa Group, and we print, package, and promote. Media partner, Cool Wazobia Nigeria Info FM.
The first two semi-finalists of Nigeria Info's I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions have emerged from the quarterfinals. On Thursday, we will meet the next two semi-finalists who will go head-to-head. At 4 p.m., Minanengio Furi David and Ogunaye Ayomide will debate the topic. Is the belief in an afterlife essential for a meaningful existence? And at 5 p.m., Oke Orji Delight and Oluwalade Demilade will debate the topic. Is animal testing for scientific research justified? I am Yvonne Okaifo. Join Femi Obang Daniels and me as we discover who the next two semi-finalists will be. I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. 16 debaters, now 6. One winner, 2 million naira. Sponsored by Lesheho Microfinance Bank. Supported by Chrisland Schools, Olaiya Foods, Obiwizi, Call to Fly, Biloxi, and Massey Street Children's Hospital. For sponsorship and partnership, send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ. A Tournament of Champions.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
This is
Maternity Line.
Maternity Line.
All right, Lagos, the 8th maternity line right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I am Zaynab Yakin, and of course, this is the station with the most talk, with the most current affairs in Nigeria. You can argue with your key parts if you're not so satisfied, but we know what we do here, okay? So be a part of it. Go on our website at nigeriainfo.fm. Also, our social media platforms at Nigeria Info. On Twitter, Nigeria Info FM Lagos on Instagram. As I said, apologies to you, Dr. Renner. Before that short break, I didn't see it coming. I was too busy talking about what we are discussing today. So Lagos, yes. So Lagos, I do have noisy Naija Pediatrician on the show. The numbers to join the show through is 0201 277 0993 0201 465-7190. Also drop your message on WhatsApp 0809-597-5805. Please start dropping your messages right now. We're streaming on live as well, online on YouTube and Facebook. Go on there and drop your messages. Somebody is calling already, but we haven't said anything just yet. Okay, so as I was saying before that intrusion, right, we're looking at respiratory tract infection today. We are talking, we'll also be talking on skin infections. We'll be looking at, if you also have questions for doctor on fever management and how to reduce fever with medication and home remedies, feel free to call in or drop your messages and ask your question. If your own is on information about vaccinations and how common childhood illnesses could be prevented through scheduled immunization, also feel free. And if you're concerned about when to seek medical attention and how to recognize severe symptoms and knowing when to consult a doctor, the lines are open for you. Once again, 0201 277 0993 0201 465 7190, WhatsApp 0809 597 05. Now, Dr. Renner is a medical doctor and consultant pediatrician. He is a pediatrician with 11 years of active clinical work, research, and training. He's also a social media influencer. I don't need to even tell you all of that already, because hardly would a mother who is on social media, say Instagram, will go online and would not stumble on Dr. Renner. That's a noisy Naija pediatrician. I can think of how he does that so effortlessly. Sometimes I ask myself, did he study theater arts? That's what comes to mind sometimes, but really he does it so effortlessly and so well professionally. All right, so that has led him to partners, to partnership and collaborations with notable brands like JTB on their autism campaign, Wema Bank for Breastfeeding Week, Nestle on nutrition for children, Huggies, Morphix, Mocha Form, Renzo's vitamins for kids, Friesland, Campina, and so much more. I could go on, but time is never on our side. Okay, so doctor, great to have you with us on Maternity Line Show once again today.
Thank you, Zaynab, for having me on again.
Right, so let's go straight into it. Doctor, common childhood illnesses and their treatments. What are the most common childhood illnesses and how can they be prevented? Can we even prevent them?
Okay, so Zaynab, thank you for that introduction. Meanwhile, this is my first time on Maternity Line, so please, I know Shekere, please, if Shekere is nearby.
I was looking for my shekere while on break. You were watching me. You saw me. I was looking everywhere for it, but don't worry, I'll find it. Don't worry.
Thank you. So, as you said, infections from children who are below 5 years in general, infections are really, really common and they occur quite frequently. But the commonest of these, as you've said, are the upper respiratory tract infections. And by that, we mean usually the common cold, which is the commonest of them all, otitis media, which is ear infections, and then tonsillitis and pharyngitis. Essentially, anything that involves the respiratory tracts in the nose and in the upper part of our throats, those are upper respiratory tract infections. Then you also have gastroenteritis, so acute watery diarrhea, whereby the child will be having watery stools and vomiting. That tends to be less as the child grows older and puts less interesting things in their mouths, but can still affect them. And so we still take it seriously. If we see watery stooling in a child less than 5 years, it can become an emergency very quickly because they can get dehydrated in a matter of hours. Then another very common infection that we get are the skin infections, So we're talking about impetigo, school sores. You are talking about boils or frequent boils, So those are the common infections that we have. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list because you still have things like urinary tract infection, malaria. You've still got pneumonia and meningitis. And while those are not uncommon, they're not as common as the ones that I've talked about. But those ones deserve a special dishonorable mention because pneumonia is the biggest killer of children globally, the biggest infectious killer of children globally. No other infection comes close to the number of children that pneumonia kills worldwide, and so it deserves a mention in all our discussions.
Globally, you said pneumonia is the biggest killer of children globally. Now, doctor,
Yes.
I would love for us to track back a bit to watery stool.
Yes.
Some parents, some mothers, I've heard some of them say, it's because the child is teething. That's why that's the reason for that watery stool. That don't bother about it. You can easily just get some medication to just give the child and the child will be okay. Doctor, I need you to please address this before I move to my next question. It's very important.
Thank you for bringing this up, Zaynab, because please, people, draw your ear. I know, put down your phone that is listening to the radio. Draw your ear. Because teething does not cause watery stool. I repeat, teething does not cause watery stool. Now, some babies that are teething may have watery stool, but it's not because the teeth is coming out. It is because sometimes when the older babies who are able to crawl, move around when they are teething, they want to put things into their mouths to soothe their gum. So they can put shoe into their mouth.
Right.
They can put packer into their mouth. They can put anything that is inside. They'll put it into their mouth to soothe their gums as the teeth are, emerging from the gums. And so in putting those dirty things into their mouth, they can now have watery stooling. The danger of this myth that you have brought up is that some mothers will say that, they have said that it is teething. And so I don't need to go to the hospital. So the child will keep on stooling, until the child gets so dehydrated that the kidneys shut down, the child becomes unconscious, and then it is at that point in time that they will now start going to the hospital. So it makes them present to the hospital late. Rather than come to the hospital early or start first aid at home early, they'll be given all sorts of strange teething mixtures and all sorts of potions and concoctions that will not do anything for the stooling, that will not rehydrate the child. So please and please again, Teething does not cause fever, and it does not cause stooling. Teething can actually make the stooling a bit more frequent than usual, especially if the child is drooling a lot. Because if they drool a lot, the saliva that they keep on swallowing tends to make the bowel move a little bit faster. And so the food that they are eating might move through the bowel a bit more faster. But once that stool becomes watery, my dear, is not eating again. So please, let's note to...
Just so you know, Lagos, Dr. Renner Ayodele, noisy Naija pediatrician, is live on Maternity Line. Now let's segue to my next question. Now, doctor, how can a mother, parents differentiate between a cold and flu in their children? Because sometimes you just assume, oh, a child may have been exposed to too much cold weather, or maybe cold drink, maybe cold water, especially these preschoolers, children between the ages of 3 and 5. They are older kids, in quote and unquote. So how do you tell? How are you able to differentiate between when a child has flu
and a common
okay, yes, and a common cold, please.
And the common cold? So great. I know some people use the words interchangeably. So some people, say that, okay, so I have a flu, and all they've got is the common cold. Now, the common cold is a very different entity from the flu. The common cold is an infection of a child's or an individual's nose and throat. So they call it rhinopharyngitis. Rhino for nose, pharyngitis for the throat. And it's usually caused by a virus. And those viruses will just not do anything, really terrible. It can irritate the child a little bit, because a child whose nose is running or whose nose is blocked is very uncomfortable, especially if they are breastfeeding. Because they are losing their because it is and they are to setting up, and so they get so actually they are well with and usually because they have like breathing, are generally happy, irritated again. But when it comes to it's all called like virus, that person lets the and will just get around, and this virus is amplifying to treat the virus. And no child will come with these things such as very high fever, profuse vomiting, weakness, like completely flat out. They will not play, they will not interact, they will not look round. So they might have vomiting, they might have stooling. So the symptoms are not just a runny nose and just a little bit of irritability. These are individuals who are severely ill. And so in a child, if you see a child that is having, cough and catarrh, but is otherwise well, that's fine. But once a child begins to have a high fever, begins to refuse food, looks weak, looks uninterested.
Right. Absolutely right.
Playing uninterested, then that might be more than common cold, and it might be flu. Also, fast breathing might be a symptom of the flu rather than just the common cold. And so these are the ways in which one can differentiate. But what I'd say is that if a child has any
respiratory infection, doctor's internet keeps fluctuating.
Well, just to be on the side of caution, please go to the hospital immediately.
Okay, so you said please go to the hospital immediately once the child starts exhibiting some form of symptoms. Now, doctor, I love the fact that you have just taken us to fever. Fever is one of the common childhood illnesses that could get a mother or a parent generally frustrated, especially when a very active child. In my own case, I have a very hyper daughter. So if I notice something like that, I would definitely notice that something is wrong, because this is very unusual. Now, how can, what are the best ways to manage fever in children? Internet again. I see your mess
of an online illness. Yes, exactly. So fever is a symptom of an underlying illness. So in the same way that headache is not an illness, it's a symptom. Various things can cause headache, including malaria, a viral upper respiratory tract infection, an unexpected large debit alerts, for some people, So headache can come as a result of various things. Same way in which fever can actually also be caused by various illnesses, including infections. Even cancers can actually give some children fever, but that one is a discussion for a different day. One of the commonest symptoms or commonest ways in which you know that a child has an infection is as a result of a fever. Now, at home, the latest teaching is that when it comes to fever, it is not every fever that you must give paracetamol for. So people will be like, Dr. Renner, my baby is going to have convulsion. No, it is not every child that has a fever that will end up having a convulsion. So what are the latest recommendations for children having fever? Now, what we say is that all that, tepid sponging, giving them a cold shower, it is not necessary. What we say is that don't use cold water. Use lukewarm water if you must do that to actually mop the body of the child. If a child has a fever, we generally don't advise you to give paracetamol immediately. What we say is that if the child is irritable, just seems to be fussy and just generally unhappy, please give the paracetamol immediately just to help them feel better, because the fever can actually make them feel a little bit miserable. Please have a thermometer at home.
Right.
I trust people not tell me that they have a fever, that the baby has a fever. I believe them immediately. But it would be nice for you to tell us, we got 39, because 37.5 and 39 are two different ends of the spectrum. I might not be too alarmed at 37.5, but I would be really concerned at 39. But you see, the problem is that sometimes some babies at 39, they are happy, they are playing, they are active. So what we say is that, don't just treat only the fever. Also look at the state of the child. So if the child's body is hot, but the child is active, happy, playing, jumping around, please don't necessarily give paracetamol. But once you that the child has a fever and is down, is irritable, please give paracetamol at that point in time. We don't advise you to give paracetamol and another ibuprofen, at the same time at home. Either you do paracetamol or you do ibuprofen. Don't do the two, because these drugs are not, without their side effects, as harmless as they seem to be. If the fever comes with symptoms like difficulty with breathing, like a convulsion, like complete weakness, refusal of food, please don't manage at home.
Right.
Go to the hospital as soon as possible.
Now, the fact that you've really emphasized the aspect of medication, and I'm thinking, are medications really necessary? Can childhood illnesses be treated with natural remedies? Some will say give the child some honey. You could just put ginger and garlic in the water and blend it for the child to drink. I mean, these are home remedies I have somewhere in my head. It happened to me of recent anyway. So is it in all cases that a child who is in this condition needs medications? Is it necessary? How about home remedies? Do they work?
That's a very great question, because so first of all, we in generally, for physicians, and specialists, what we generally say is that if we can treat that condition without giving medication, that is the option that we're going to take. Because as much as possible, most as people think that, these doctors, they want to make money. Yes, everybody wants to make money.
Right.
But we must practice medicine with a conscience, such that, this particular condition is not going to require any medication. But sometimes when you tell a mother that, mommy, this illness does not require any medication, they will look at you like, sorry, I came all the way from my house to come and to see you. And I said there is no medication, doctor. Before I leave this place, I'm going to write medication for me. So sometimes is that challenging. But I would say that home remedies are very good in terms of relieving the symptoms of the child. So for instance, common cold, child is coughing, the nose is runny. Once the child is above 1 year, you can actually offer honey, ginger, and it helps to clear the airways. It doesn't kill the virus. It doesn't get rid of the virus as far as research is concerned, because we're not aware that honey will actually kill the virus. But what it will do is that it will create some sort of nice, soothing coat on the throat to prevent that irritation, and so the child coughs less. The ginger is going to help to clear the airways. Have you ever chewed a thumb of ginger, Zaynab?
Yes.
If you just like that, my goodness, like the whole head will just be clear. Like you now realize, wow. So that's what those things do. That's what those things do. So home remedies are great. A word of caution.
Right.
Sometimes you might be doing home remedies for a little bit too longer than you should, such that child is not really getting better. Symptoms are worsening, and you're still mixing garlic and ginger and mint on the fire. No. Go to the hospital if you see that the symptoms are not improving. People generally say, go to your doctor if symptoms persist after 3 days.
3 days.
That 3 days, not really there's no benchmark, there's no juju, there's no magic about the 3 days, especially when it comes to children. So what I say is that, yes, be doing your home remedy, but don't look at anything 3 days, because before that 3 days comes, some children can get really ill within a matter of hours. So I'm more interested in what symptoms are your child exhibiting. Is your child sleepy and excessively drowsy? Is he refusing feeds? Has he developed some sort of unusually fast breathing? Is he looking, weak and confused and just, not himself? Even if that happens before 3 days, now you don't wait for that 3 days for symptoms to persist. Go to the hospital even before that 3 days arrives. But in terms of home remedies, we approve of home remedies as long as they don't contain anything harmful. Because I don't know if you've heard of it, Zaynab, that sometimes some people actually mix things like camphor to give their children. So please, no funny chemicals, no unusual ingredients or condiments should go into those home remedies.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayodele Renner, Noisy Naija Pediatrician, live on Maternity Line. Lagos, be a part of the show. The numbers to call 0201-277-0993, 0201 465-7190. I see a couple of messages earlier. This person is saying hello. Hello to you too. I got this one from Adenike from Iyanoiworo. Adenike is saying, hello, Dr. Noisy Naija Pediatrician. Your contents are exhilarating. Big English.
Thank you.
So Adenike is saying, Doctor, I am feeling you. I feel what you are saying. Well done, Zaynab. Thank you so much, Adenike. The numbers for WhatsApp 0809-597-5805. Kemi, you do have a message for Lagos.
Yes, I do. Lagos, have you heard of the gathering of diction coaches, educators, consultants, and communication enthusiasts? It's the 2024 edition of the Association of Diction Coaches of Nigeria, ADCN's National Conference. The theme of the conference is Elocution in the Digital Age, adapting traditional speech training methods for modern communication platforms. The ADCN conference will feature keynote speeches, panel sessions, and networking among like minds. It's a rich lineup of speakers, and it includes the award-winning presenter, radio and TV host Frank Edoho, communication professionals such as Dr. Catherine Onyejiaka, Femi Obok-Daniels, Omotunde Adebowale, David Lolo One, BB George, Ayofe Oluwa, Wole Ojo, Titus Bankole, personal brand champion Omotoyosi Ajayi, and renowned educationists such as Dr. Wasiu Adumadein, President Emeritus NAPPS, and Mrs. Ayola Akinyeye, Director of Schools, Chrisland Schools Limited. Date is August 31st, 2024. Time is 10 a.m. Dinner is 5 p.m. Venue is Chrisland School, Lekki, located at 12 Olubimi Owa off Admiralty Road, Lekki, Phase 1, Lagos. It's a free-to-attend event, but registration is necessary. You can register at bit.ly/ADCN National Conference. Okay, that's bit.ly/ADCN National Conference. For more information, inquiries, partnership, sponsorship, call the numbers 0812 626 2814, 0812 626 2814, or you can call 0803 838 0173, 0803 838 0173. The conference will be streamed online via ADCN's social media handles, Association of Diction Coaches of Nigeria on Facebook, or you can follow at diction_coaches_of_Nigeria on Instagram for more details. Okay, that's diction_coaches_of_Nigeria on Instagram for more details. The 2024 ADCN National Conference is proudly supported by P1 Max, the British Council, Chrisland Schools Limited, MTN, and 99.3 Nigeria Info FM.
All right, Kemi, thank you for that message. Doctor, please bear with me. Kemi is pressed, so I needed to give her.
I should not give Lagos anything that I have for them. Lagos, are you hearing this?
Right. Doctor Ogono, where is the message again? Okay, Ogono Shedrack has a message for you. He or she, Ogono Shedrack, says, good afternoon, Zaynab and Dr. Noisy Naija. He's Dr. Renner Ayodele, by the way. Yeah. So Ogono says, Doctor, I have a 3-year-old though, and I also have a 2-month child. Now, my 3-year-old, each time she comes down with a cold, I notice my newborn will just pick it. So what do you advise? Do you think I shouldn't allow her to hold the baby whenever she has a cold, or what should I do?
Man, it's a very great question. It's very important. It happens all the time. So in general, most toddlers are inseparable from their siblings. They want to kiss them, want to carry them, want to hold them, want to feed them, want to change their diaper, whether they're capable of doing it or not. And it's very difficult. And sometimes they will have a total meltdown when they are prevented from, showing affection to their newborn siblings. But everything is negotiation and teaching them. Yes, in the first few days, it might be difficult for you to actually keep them away from their siblings, but you let them know that it is for the best, so that if you're having a cough and cold or a cough and catarrh, then you don't want to give it to your younger sister, your younger brother. That, do you want to give your brother a cold? Do you want to give your brother a catarrh? It's just to negotiate with them. Eventually, they'll get the program with the program and know that once they have a respiratory tract infection, then they cannot come near their younger siblings. And you just got to put your foot down about it sometimes, to make sure that they don't infect the child. Because the problem is that the 3-year-old has acquired so many viruses and can encounter so many viruses that their immune system is actually just a bit sturdy, while the younger one hasn't really been exposed to anything. And so for them, those illnesses might be a bit more severe than in the 3-year-old. That being said, also with you've got to pay attention to hand hygiene. So this little one, the 3-year-old, is going around everywhere, rubbing her hands with her nose, rubbing her nose with her hands, and then rubbing the couch, rubbing the door handle, rubbing you, and then you carry her, and then you go and carry baby and feed baby. That way, you might be transmitting stuff indirectly from the 3-year-old to your newborn. And so you've got to absolutely pay attention to washing your hands thoroughly with soap and water before you touch, carry, or use a hand sanitizer, before you touch, carry, or lift the newborn, the younger baby, so that you're not transmitting anything from, even the catarrh, can be on the senior child's toys. Things that she has touched, so you've got to pay attention to also wiping those down so that you are not transferring stuff from the older baby to the younger baby. Just a quick note on the medication question that you asked. Please go antibiotics by yourself. I know that we do it a lot. The chemists are willing to give us those antibiotics, but please, antibiotics is not for self-medication. Antibiotics is not first aid. Go to the hospital for antibiotics to be prescribed.
Doctor, we have many more questions, I'm afraid, and I have more people asking questions. This is coming from Adebayo Kafayat. Adebayo Kafayat says, "Hello, doctor. Nice hearing your voice here. You don't shatter the table of Instagram finish. You can't come on radio." Kafaya. Yeah, you can't come on radio. Well, I'm feeling you. Thanks for the education. Doctor, my baby has eczema and she's barely 1 year. She's barely 1 year. She's barely 1 year. So I'm guessing how to deal with this could be challenging. Somebody is suggesting that I take her to the herbal people. What's your take on this, Doc?
Okay, so eczema is a very broad term, and I really need to. So when it comes to rashes, then a rash must be seen.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Hi, I'm Natasha Kimani. I'm a governance and public policy expert and the host of Talk to Me Direct podcast. Talk to Me Direct is produced by Luminate. Luminate is a global foundation working to ensure that everyone, especially those underrepresented, have the information, rights, and power to influence decisions that affect their lives. In this first episode, I speak with Amina Salihu, a feminist and a practitioner in the philanthropy field in Africa.
And so once a country does not prioritize the well-being of its teachers, you're also diminishing the value that you have put on education.
Like and subscribe to Talk to Me Direct wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you an independent female artist, a producer, a DJ, a songwriter who wants to take a career to the next level? Then her Sound 2.0 is for you. Enjoy comprehensive training and mentorship, access to support from a community of female music professionals, collaborative opportunities, 2 days free bootcamp, and more. To register for Her Sound 2.0, visit www.hersoundglobal.com to register for free. To complete your application, post a 30-second video on Instagram telling us why you want to be part of Her Sound 2024. And don't forget to use the hashtags. Hashtag Her Sound Peach. Her Sound 2024. It's time to hear her.
Her Sound 2024 is brought to you by Checherspeak Nation and powered by Google. Supported by Boomplay, South Africa, Grunge Cake, Mavico Foods, Media Partners, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info, Pulse NG, and Heap TV.
For more information, visit at Her Sound Global on Instagram.
All right, we have many more questions, I'm afraid, and we have questions pouring in. People, why were you calling when we're on break or you're long? 020127709993, 0201465790. Be nice to call when the show is back on now. Stop calling during the break. Okay, so somebody is asking here. Good afternoon, ma'am. Oh, where is the message? Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. Please, my little girl will be 10 months tomorrow, and I'm so concerned about her small stature. I don't mean that small because she's tall and always active and playing, but she's not that horrible like I wish she is. And I've even tried Tom Brown food. Still no difference. What can I do? Or shouldn't I be worried or laugh from Ikorodu? Now somebody is calling. Doctor, should I take the call before you answer this question?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, Nigeria Info.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Raprochiko, how are you?
Zaynab.
I'm here.
Zaynab?
Yes, please, I am.
Okay, good. Okay, I thought sorry. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Please go straight.
Okay, yeah, I greet you. Good afternoon. And yeah, I guess, Doctor, good afternoon.
Please go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Well, I want to know what is the difference between blood tonic and this supplement, and how often do we apply this to our children, and what is the need, what is the significance? Thank you.
Doctor, don't you mind people are taking us away from today's focus? Another call.
It's very good. Let me just quickly answer our political.
Doctor, please permit me to pick this call as well. I have one other call, so you address everything. Good afternoon, Nigeria Info. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Ibinabo, calling from Ogba.
Ibinabo, nice to have you here.
Yes. Oh, okay. I have a 4-year-old son.
Okay.
At some point, I discovered rashes were coming out from his body. Or took him to the clinic. He was treated, but the spots are still there because it's fair. So, is there anything one can do to totally get rid of those spots as the aftermath of the rashes?
Okay.
And what can be done to further avert such reoccurrence? Because sometimes I figured it was as a result of wrongly prescribed drugs.
All right. Thank you so much, Ibinabo.
Thank you.
Doctor.
Thank you, Ibinabo.
Doctor, please, would you come back again? But you would still answer the question. Please. Will you be here next week? No. Yes.
Oh, myself?
Yes.
Oh, next week Thursday, I will do my best to make an appearance. Friday, yes. Friday, yes. I will make an appearance.
Okay. Now go ahead. 30 seconds.
Okay, so very quickly, so being a 4-year-old, the rashes are likely to disappear without you applying anything or not. But if they persist, please see a dermatologist and identify the drug that you suspect caused those rashes so that you stay as far away from that drug as possible. If not, those rashes will return and they may return a bit more angry. Now, for Abuluchuku's question, between blood tonic has iron and supplements may or may not have iron. So with blood tonic, iron is the main thing. Now, how often should you give your children? A lot of children in Nigeria might not get the full complement of the vitamins that should be getting from their food because they're not eating fruits and vegetables. So anything from 1 year, begin to ask your physician or your doctor about giving supplements and iron supplementation to the children.
All right.
Now, to Tafaya's question, my dear, please make sure that your child is actually following their weight trajectory. Not every baby is going to be facts.
All right.
But please make sure that your child is actually on the chart. Trust the child who is on the chart to ask your doctor to do
All
this.
right, doctor,
so that
we have
you know
to
that
go.
the child is actually.
Doctor,
Yes,
I'm sorry, we have to go till next week. Please, we'd love to have you back next week. Thank you so much. It's time for the 1 o'clock news. Please stay right here. Yvonne is live in the studio. Thank you, Dr. Ayodele Renner, Noisy Naija Pediatrician.
Thank you.
The news 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.